The most common I see with hip pain is actually chronically tight glutes. So here in this video, we're gonna go over how to open up the glutes and also why you're getting such tight glutes so you can stop the cause to this problem. So why are these glutes of yours so tight? And the one problem is that you sit a lot, which means that you put a lot of pressure on the glutes. Anytime you press on a muscle for an extended period of time, kind of deactivates it. So we do need to get it more active. The other thing is that you stop learning to internally rotate your hips. Look at this video of my cousin, and basically he has crazy internal rotation, but he's a young child. Children sit like this all the time. And part of it is that we get more muscle mass, which makes it more challenging. But at the same time, it means that we've lost this movement of internal rotation, which the glutes activate when you externally rotate the hips. So if we can't load them internally, then it's hard to activate them to get them to open back up. You've also probably stopped sprinting, which we activate the glutes most when we're sprinting, just when we're pulling the ground. That's why sprinters typically have kind of big bums, you know? So if you want a big bum, you might need to get back to sprinting, but you're gonna have to take some steps first. So the hard part about this is, where's the chicken and where's the egg? Or what's the chicken, what's the egg? What happened first? Did you start sitting and then your glutes got inactive? Did your glutes get inactive after you started sitting? These things, is sitting really the problem, or was it because you stopped moving? And the reality is that they're all connected. So you can try to find what is the first thing that happened, but we know that all of them happened. So we're gonna open up the glutes in this video, and that's gonna help them get more active, because while we're opening them up, I'm gonna coach you to flex them and actually start to use them like they're meant to be. The first exercise is the wall glute. You're gonna sit next to the wall, shoulder on the wall, and then slowly rotate to where your feet go on the wall. A big pad is nice. The closer you get to the wall, the more stretch you get. So I'm gonna go a little bit close like that, pulling the ankle to the knee, and then pushing that knee outward while I'm pulling the hips down, using the core to do that. So push the knee, and then instead of up here, I'm pulling down into the back of the pad, and I'm just holding it. What I really like about the stretch is it's very relaxing, and you can kind of hold it while you're on your phone and get a lot of time stretching out the glutes. And then if you push a little bit extra, keep the hips straight, you get a great stretch. And then you just switch to the other side and do the same thing. Second movement is the incline pigeon. So you're gonna need a bench for this one. And you're gonna just push your knee into the side of the incline bench, 90 degrees right here, and then sitting back into this glute. Some variations for this is the hinge or the pigeon pulse, where I'm going down to the foot and then coming back. Try not to hinge back over this way. It creates less tension in the glute. So you're pushing that glute back, hinging towards the foot, going back. Best part about this exercise is that it's very easy to regress. So if I move the bench up, it's a lot easier to do. Some people will have problems with the back leg, which means that we need to work that in another place, probably do a different glute stretch, but this can help get the glute in an easy way, and then it can progress to where you're doing a flat pigeon, and you're here, and then you're just dropping in deep to the bottom, and then you can come back up. You can drop the hips, go through. So this is pretty progressed as you go through it, and you're opening up both sides of the hips, pushing this down and hip back. So from there, we can go to the kneeling glute stretch. So what that looks like is one knee down, and then I'm pushing into the hips over into this right hip now. So I'm stretching out that right hip, and I'm trying to sink the body down but keep the hip high. So almost like putting the femur up into the top of the hips and sitting there. This one can be kind of tricky to get at first. I'll show you the other side. But once you get it, it gets a little bit higher into the glute, so more up here. And then also it can get some of the deeper glute muscles that get missed on the other stretch. So I'm here, and this one I'm not feeling it. So I just kind of sink around, and then I can feel it right there. So I sink deeper and I just hold it. I really like this one. Again, very casual, because I can go on my phone while I'm doing it. But wait till you find it and then go on your phone. is a great stretch to add to all the other glute stretches. So now onto the fourth, the 90-90 stretch, which I really like because it starts getting some internal rotation on that back hip. But to get the glute stretch, you just hinge towards this foot here and then go back. This one does more of the hips on both sides. So as I said, internal and then external, getting the glute a little bit on the back. Most people will feel it a lot more here because we got problems here. But you can use the 90-90 to actually move through the position and flex open the glutes, trying to keep that 90 position on both sides. And then doing it again down this way. As you can see, my left side's just a little bit tighter for myself. It's not a problem. You're going to have a tight side as well, but it's a reality. So whenever I'm stretching, I'm going to stretch the left side first so I can get a little bit more time. Sometimes I'll even do an extra set just on the left side to get extra stretch. That moves us into the pigeon stretch, which is probably the most popular. It's a yoga pose. The problem with this pose is that no one really does it right. So one, they'll do this and then sit on their knee. The glute is getting no stretch here. You're just stretching out the quad, but not in a stretch position. Maybe this back hip flexor. If your back hip flexor is tight, then I wouldn't do this movement. But if it's not, then you can start sitting up in the movement. So your hips are sitting up. This is basically a 90-degree, trying to keep your torso upright, holding. You can even do pulses just like you did on the incline pigeon. Here, again, the problem with this one is that there's so many limitations to it that it becomes difficult, but the inviting part is that there's no equipment. So if you want to do it, some things to focus on is keep this at a 90-degree and then slowly lift yourself up to get this leg back. Start to move it back more and more. You'll see that your hips hikes up, but keep it down as much as possible. After a little remodeling, we got to the seated glute, which there's a few different movements that you can do with this position. The best part about this position is that you can do this pretty much anywhere that you're sitting and you just sit comfortably. What I'll notice for most guys is that they only have one side that they can sit like this on and the other side doesn't really work. So this is my weak side. You can see it's higher than if I go here and it can sit down flat. So I'm doing it over here to demonstrate. So we're here. There's tightness in the glute. You feel a little bit, goes through my hamstring. This is the hamstring that I strained a while ago. So there's other problems that we're dealing with there. But the way I like to do this stretch is to have a weight in your hand and hold it and then flex up against the weight as hard as you can while pushing down on the weight to keep the knee there so it doesn't go all the way up. And then from there, I'm just gonna let it relax and open up. This groin is gonna have more ability to open up, which then lets you sink down lower because the groin and the glute are very connected. So you're gonna do that for multiple sets. And then the last set, you're gonna flex down with the glute as hard as you can, getting extra range. You can even see it opened up quite a bit actually on there. And I can keep it there now on there with some contraction in the leg. So that is the seated glute. And then the last one and most advanced is the standing piriformis. So this is how you're gonna do it. Watch me through the mirror because otherwise you're gonna see my glute too much. So I'm here and I'm just standing. So this is the base version. The downside to this movement is that it can be hard to set up. So you can see I have little planks down there so I can be a little bit higher so I can get to the point. The nice part about that is that I can just lower those planks and then I will get more stretch on the glute while I'm here. The best way I've seen people do this at home is on a table, and then they put a towel or a blanket, something that's soft, even a pillow, on that table, and then they put their leg up on the table to get this stretch. The nice part about this position is that I can advance this to a moving piriformis, so I can go down, hold the handles, and then let my hips sink low, and then flex up through the glute. This movement is probably one of my favorites for glute range. It's quite intense, so it's difficult on the whole body. Other than that, the other ways I can move on the standing piriformis is hinging over towards that foot, tapping my head to that foot, or I can even do a little bit of hinging this way. I can have a weight in my hand and almost do a QL raise, getting stretch in the glute. So as I said, my favorite, I think it's the most versatile. I also like this one because you get a little bit more comfortable with that back leg than you do with the incline pigeon. So oftentimes I'll see people give out on the incline pigeon, or they want to quit because the back leg is too difficult to keep the weight of their body. But this, because you're standing straight, most people can stand like this on this leg for quite some time, and it's just this glute that they feel stretching. So as you go through all of these, you'll find ones that you're a lot tighter in, and you'll find ones that are easy for you. The ones that you're tighter in and you probably don't like them as much are the ones that you need to do more, and the ones that you feel are easy, very likely you could be doing wrong. So try to shift the position of the hips while you're in them, shift the upper body, make sure the knee is at the right angle to get the hip pushed through the back so you open up that glute as much as possible. And this is going to be where the posture gets the best results, because as the glutes open up, you stop having this like weird tightness when you walk, and you can start running again, and everything just feels better. A lot of the times after stretching the glutes, you actually feel lighter. It's hard to explain, but that's the best way to explain it. So you feel you have more length in your step, and it's just easier to move. The best way to get results in the glutes is to actually start using them in your daily life. So now that we've gotten them to start being more open, when you take steps as you're walking, try to feel the glutes pull you forward with each step. When you're in the gym, you should train your glutes, guys and girls alike, and not just to make them bigger, but to actually make them function. So things like training out of internal rotation. So if I'm here and my legs internally rotating and then I'm pushing back out of it, it's a great exercise for that glute. As this works, you'll start feeling better and better. The last thing that I've noticed very greatly affect the glutes is how tight the groin is. So more effective, more important for the guys watching this video. If your groin is really tight, which is very common, the glutes have a hard time opening up and really being active. So you might need to do some work for the groin, but I would start with the glutes because that's typically the main cause. I hope you enjoyed this video, but you should also like, comment, and subscribe, because there's more content like this, and I'll probably do a video specifically for the groin so we can start opening up the whole hip and getting hip results, because that's hip, hip, hooray.